The following video is an introduction to our amazing proprietary study, the Option Bias Indicator. This video was recorded some years ago, but still it gives you information that shows you how this study can be extremely valuable for your trading. I hope you enjoy it.
Hi, I'm going to take a few minutes to show you our new Option Bias Indicator. I think you're going to find this really interesting. I've been an option trader since I started on the CBOE in 1974. That's 43 years. And since that time, I've learned the importance of momentum, not standing in front of that moving train. And that can be really expensive. In this world that we live in right now, things are really momentum driven. That's greatly affected by the involvement of central banks and high frequency trading, and the depth of the markets that we've seen in here have really taken the noise out of the market. You've seen these long upward trends and low volatility. So understanding momentum, in other words, those trends, is really important. I've been testing this new indicator now for about a year, and we've been using that and reporting when this indicator has told us when things have gotten extreme, overbought or oversold. And for our level 3 members, we've been showing our option bias rankings on the table that they get every single day. But now we have it available as a study that can be used on the thinkorswim platform. And I think it's just unbelievably valuable. I wanted to create a study that would help with option bias. In other words, directing our option positions, and that's very valuable for strategic option traders, those people that are trying to take advantage of the decay in options. And what happens, of course, is that those positions get tested a lot. In other words, they get in the money and then they become losing positions, and you have to figure out, whether you want to roll them or take them off, and it becomes really complicated. And it would really help if there was a way to tell whether or not you can bias your position in one direction or the other, or when there is an extreme and it makes some sense then to fade the move, to then become a contrarian, to not do that too soon, as a lot of traders really do. So essentially, I wanted to find something that keeps traders out of trouble, keeps you in the right direction. So we built this study, and it takes in effect the intermediate term momentum, the short term momentum, and also the extremes in movement. So it's a very complex study that we built here using multiple time frames. It's, I think, extraordinarily unique and very valuable. I'm going to show you examples of this, quite a number of them here, so you get a good understanding. Now, this is used on the thinkorswim platform. So if you're not a thinkorswim member and you're seeing this, well, you want to contact me potentially about getting our link to become a thinkorswim member. So, of course, that's TD Ameritrade, and thinkorswim is the platform that they use. So let's take a look here at some examples of this powerful study, and I'll show you how it works. There are 7 different readings, and it's really easy. And take a look at this. The first one I'm going to show you is IBM, where you look at the IBM chart on a daily chart, 6-month chart. Here is that chart. So everything that I'm going to show you is on a daily chart, 6-month chart of IBM. So on the bottom is the indicator with some notes on it. The rest of the charts I'm going to show you don't have all of these notes, but I want you to get a sense for the 7 different readings and what they mean. So the first reading that we're going to see or the first readings are the positive readings. Anytime you see it up here, that's essentially where the 3 is. That's P3. That's what it is the most positive period. In other words, there's an upward bias, and that upward bias is likely to continue. Whenever you see this P2, in other words, these are dark green and these are lighter green, then what you get is a sense that it is getting slightly overbought. In other words, P3 is the most powerful upside move. P2 says it is getting kind of a little bit overbought, and that you might be watching for it to stall out based on that getting a little bit overbought. Now, when it turns yellow is when it goes neutral. So you can see in here that you had a positive reading right there, and those were all positive readings, and it was a little bit overbought. And here is where you had a little decline, and it went neutral at that point. Then what happened after that was that you got into a period of negative bias. So what happened was that right here, you can see where it went N3, and that's exactly on this date right over here. It told you that the internals have deteriorated enough that there was an alignment between the intermediate and the short-term patterns that had turned negative. And you can see what happened in here in IBM. It began to fall right during that period. It got slightly oversold during this period right over here, giving you some indication that the downside may be ending in there, and you could see it started to slow down. And then what happened over here is the N1 reading. When you get to N1 orange, it says it is extreme oversold and a reversal is pending. You can see that you had 3 days in a row of that reading, and then what happened was it made the bottom and it started to move up. Fantastic right there. Now, when it turns yellow after an N1 reading, it essentially says that the N1 reading is gone, but the momentum from the extreme oversold condition can continue. So that's exactly what happened in here. Now, at some point you're going to say, I don't know whether it's going to continue or not. But then when you get the P3 reading, it says the internals have improved again and that it goes positive. And you can see this great positive bias right over there. Now, note that right over here on this date, right there, when it had the big upside gap, it went to P1 orange, which says that is an extreme overbought condition. That says that it is likely that you will get some kind of a reversal soon, and you can see what happened here in IBM. It reversed right after that. So here was your N1 orange reading, and then it reversed. Here's your P1 orange reading that says extreme overbought, and then it reversed after that. So this was a clear indication of great signals here on the option bias indicator. I'm going to go through a number of other ones in here for you that you can see, and you will be able to tell the value of this. Let's take a look at Costco, C-O-S-T. And you can see in here are the readings. Now, we don't really have, I didn't put all those notes in here, but I'll just go quickly for you to see. Here is the period right in here of P3 where all the internals were positive and it was rising. Notice actually that we had an island reversal right in here. During the island period, it got slightly overbought. Then it got extreme overbought, warning that there would be a downside reversal. It actually had a breakaway gap on the downside and then established itself as extremely negative. In other words, this was mildly oversold right over here, and this was extremely negative period over here, and you can see that continued on the downside. You got a neutral readings right in here, and actually a positive reading right in there, and then it went neutral again right there. So you can see that all of these readings right through here were positive or just slightly overbought, and there was a gap in there, but pretty much you can see uptrend in here and an uptrend right in here. And the best value of all was during this period over here where you had the breakaway gap on the downside, and this signaled it perfectly, and it signaled when it would continue to move down. So great reading on there on Costco. Let's take a look at American Airlines. You'll see right in here that it also gave you an excellent reading. All of this period was positive right in here. You could see that positive to only slightly overbought. Right over here is where it went P1 orange and warned of a reversal. You could see that happened right in here. And then the reversal came. It was really strong. Here is where your N1 readings are, and it said it would continue sharply on the downside, or the potential for that was there, and that continued that way. And here is your extreme oversold reading right over here, and saying that it's likely that you'd get a reversal. You got a double bottom, extremely oversold, and then that gave you the reversal. So great reading in there also in American Airlines. Let's take a look at Google, Googl. Great readings. I mean, this is just exciting when I look at it. Now, Google was a little bit choppy, right? So you can see right in here, through this period, all right in here, this was where it was mostly negative, right there. You can see that. And this is the period right in here where it had a really hard time moving to the upside. It neutralized right in here and went positive right here. So this is the period that it was positive right there. All the way through here, it got a little bit overbought a couple times, but nothing to be worried about. Then it gave that shooting star, and right in here, it shows that the likelihood is strong that this is going to reverse on the downside because it has now gotten to extreme overbought here in Google. So just a very, very clear look at how that looked. The next three I'm going to show you are positive readings that were incredible. In other words, it says that all of the internals were positive. This is just unbelievable in Boeing. There was never a time all the way back here for almost 6 months that we had anything but just incredibly powerful internals. It never got overbought once. It never gave you any kind of a warning that it was getting overbought. So in other words, it was internally correcting, and it continued upside during that whole period right there. Just amazing, the quality of that. You would never want to be on the short side when you get a P3 reading like that that never changes. It makes no sense. Caterpillar, almost the identical situation, even more positive. Never during this whole time period did it ever give you a sense that it was anything but positive in this whole 6-month period that we're looking at. Never once getting even the smallest bit overbought, just powerful on the internals. The emerging markets, look at that. Got neutral a couple times, but basically in these little corrections right in here didn't really mean very much, and just positive the whole period of time there in emerging markets. You think it only works on the downside? Take a look at the dollar, DXY, and you can see right in here that during this whole period, during this decline, the internals almost the whole period were extreme negative. There was a couple of times where it gave you little warnings that it was getting a little bit oversold. Remember, it has to be orange to be warning of a reversal. And then it went neutral right over here and went to +3. In other words, that's where it's turning positive, and it's been moving up this whole time. It's giving slight warnings here that it's a little bit overbought, but nothing significant. Again, it would need to turn orange and go to this 1 level to warn you that it is rising and extreme overbought. That has not happened in here. So you can see negative during this period in here, neutralizes, and then positive during this period in here. And man, that sure kept you on the right side of the market when you look at that in the dollar. That's absolutely fantastic. Let's take a look at one commodity in here just so that you can see how it works in the futures. And let's take a look at gold, how this worked. So let's get a little closer look right in here. And you can see that, well, what happened? Gold was positive right in here. It got a little bit overbought, but nothing significant. You didn't really have a good signal in here until this moment right over here where it turned red. That's N3 red, and that said a momentum had clicked in the internals on all time frames. However, not oversold, slightly oversold in here. You didn't get an orange reading at all, but it turned up. Here's where it turned positive P3. It says it's likely to continue to move on the upside. You can see that. This is the date right over here. It gave you a little warning, was getting overbought. That's this right in here. And then right here on this date right here, it warns you that it is extreme overbought and likely to turn around on the downside. There is your reversal. Here's where it continues down. Here's where it turns N3, in other words, very negative. This rally in here did not change it, so it's likely to fail, and you can see that, and it continues on the downside. So just absolutely extraordinary indicator when you look at that. Certainly nothing is ever perfect, but I would say that that one is really amazing. You can look this over if you're a level 4 member, because you'll be able to put that right on your charts. It gives you a great sense of the bias. In other words, how do you direct your option positions, and when exactly do you want to fade, so you don't fade too soon. And when you get those orange readings, N1 or P1, that's the time it's the highest probability that in a few days you're going to get a change of direction. Some of them are brief change of direction. Some of them, as you could see, are long periods of change of directions, and are, basically, even in this strong trending market, we're getting better than 2-to-1 in reversals. So it's just an amazing reading. This was built for option traders, and to keep you in the right direction of the market and keep you from getting run over. But you can see it's great for swing traders also. That's the askSlim option bias indicator.
Well, I'm going to the city and I'm gonna do a city show. And I know all my fans wanna learn how to make some dough. I've been creating